Banana Splits movie is the kind of movie you see a trailer for and you think, oh, that's a cute gag. Like, that's a cute little fake trailer that they made. Like, imagine if they actually made this kind of movie. And then when you research further into it, you're like, oh, this is actually happening. Like, this is an actual film. This is exactly what happened to me when I heard about this. And I didn't want to be the idiot that fell for it and was like, ooh, is this really happening? And people are like, come on, dude, this wouldn't actually happen. It actually happened, yes. The late 60s Hanna-Barbera beloved kids program, the Banana Splits, 50 years later, 40 something years later, becomes a slasher film. Like, what the hell? Okay, so the Banana Splits movie came to the Redbox today. I picked it up and checked it out. I had really no expectations. I have heard a lot of bad about it, but that's typical. I'm not. I usually just kind of push that aside. Sometimes I'll let it influence me, like if it's overwhelmingly bad and it's from people I trust, but for the most part it just kind of seems like that's the consensus of what I've looked at online. So my expectations were just kind of like, I'll go in, I'll have a good time, hopefully, you know, maybe it'll entertain me in some capacity. And so here we are, and I'll have to say up front, I thought it was fine. I think its saving grace is that it does have a few gore gags that are good. There's nothing great about this movie for me. I think where it failed for me personally is in the concept that the Banana Splits are animatronics. It feels like an attempt to try to make this like the original Westworld movie or something, where they're not in a theme park, but this family and a bunch of other people go to a live taping of the Banana Splits show, which has been off the air since like 71 or so. It's been off the air a long ass time. But in this universe, unless I'm unaware of some revival that it had later on, but of what I know of it, it was a late 60s, early 70s program that has never had a revival. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that. But even if I am wrong on that, I know of no iteration of it anytime recently. So in this universe and within the film, the Banana Splits is still a very popular and seemingly lucrative franchise that the company is still putting on TV. And there is a kid, and he's obsessive with the damn Banana Splits, and his mother gets him tickets to go to the Banana Splits live taping. And they go, and this is going to be the Banana Splits last show. They're told last minute that they're not going to be able to perform anymore because the show's been canceled by this guy who just took over the company, and their programming tells them the show must go on. And I guess that is interpreted by their robot brains to murder everybody. But as I said, I think, okay, so there's a lot of drama in this, which I'm okay with to an extent. I'm not that person that's like, I don't want my slasher movie. I've said this a million times. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here, but to, to reiterate, I'm not that person who's against character development in a movie. I don't care what kind of movie it is. If it's well done or if it's well executed, I'm fine with it. And you should be too. It's okay. We don't need the movies to suck in order for us to like them. Like, I've seen that argument a little too often, that I'm like, so you actually prefer the movie to be subpar because you feel like that's where it succeeds? Like, if it tries to do anything outside the parameters of mediocre in its execution, like no character development, bad acting, these kinds of things. It's like you've come to expect from slasher movies and actually like want, and if they give you something else, you're gonna revolt against it. Like that's just asinine fucking stuff to me. But the whole like character development thing and having characters you actually care about, I've gotten into this argument and this discussion multiple times on the channel and with people throughout my years of being in the horror community. There are people who plain and simple just do not want any character development, and they don't want to care about characters at all in a slasher movie. They feel like it has no place in there. And I just think that's absolutely ridiculous. That said, I don't mind the drama in this movie because there's some drama going on between the mom and the dad, and then there's drama going on between the dad and the older son. And then they're trying to throw in a little bit of a romance thing, and they're trying to set in a little bit of a betrayal thing, and then they're sending in a little bit of a disgruntled worker and a worker who's been let go, and all these kinds of things. And that's fine for the story, but getting back to my original point, I think where this film loses me is in the idea that the banana splits are animatronic characters, and that kind of takes the life out of them. I just don't care as much as when they're robotic, unless those robots have a personality to them that appears a little more human. I don't know, it's just like robots killing people. It just doesn't do it for me as much as if it was somebody actually, you know, human or a monster or something that's actually living. I don't know. Robot stuff, I'm not completely opposed to it. And as I said, I guess if they act more human, but these are just banana splits characters, and they are very robotic in the movie. Like they overemphasize, like they actually like squeak when they walk, and it's like, I mean, look at something like the Terminator. Like I know he's a robot under there, but it works. And with this, it just didn't work for me at all. It kind of reminds me of something like Chopping Mall or something like those kinds of robots, where it's like a complete disconnect. I don't have any connection at all to what's going on within them. There's no conflict. There's no intrigue because, or maybe they're crazy, or maybe they're this or that. The robot thing is just like, oh, it's just bad programming. It's like if a fucking car malfunctions and kills you, it's not really intending to do so. So it just, I don't know, that decision for me kind of threw me. I was expecting there to be, and there you go, expectations. But regardless, even if, it wouldn't matter if expectations are high, but I never even heard of this damn movie, and you threw it on right in front of me, and I just found out about it as I was watching it, I would still not like the fact that they are robotic animatronics as opposed to, you know, disgruntled employees who were just laid off and they're like, the show must go on. That would work way, way better for me. The kills, as I had said, they're fine. I'm glad that there's a little more gore to them than I had originally anticipated. After the first one, I was like, oh no, is this going to be bloodless? Is this going to be cutaways? And gladly it wasn't. There were a few scenes where they actually showed the gore, and that was definitely, because that's just it. There's another thing I can't understand. As much as I don't understand the whole I don't want character development thing, but the other thing I can't understand is why would you want to watch a slasher movie that doesn't have gore in it? I've talked to people who are like, oh, well, my slasher movie, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't really matter if it has gore in it. That's what we're here for, okay? I'm fine with character development being thrown into it, but give me gore, okay? At the bare minimum, that's like the first, like, absolute necessity. And then you can go down the list from there, but I feel like if you're going to have kills in your movie as a slasher movie, that you absolutely need to show on-screen death. And I'm glad that did happen in here. Nothing to write home about. There's nothing memorable at all outside of maybe one kill. I actually really enjoyed the very, very ending of the movie, but that was more cathartic than anything. As far as the characters go, they were fine. I didn't love them. I didn't hate them. They were all just kind of passable. They were just, archetypes, and they were they kind of just played their parts and either died or didn't, and that was that. I didn't really care that much one way or the other. There was never a character that I was like, oh, I hope they're okay. I hope they'll make it. I hope, there was one character I absolutely wanted to die. I wanted him to die badly. But that's probably, he's definitely kind of a stock villainous character in the movie. But I had more issues with him just personally because of something that he's doing, and it just was like, please, please, please kill this guy. So overall, it's probably better than someone would expect with how ridiculous this concept is, but it's nowhere near as awesome as it could have been. Because another thing that this movie does that's very surprising to me is that it took itself pretty seriously, but I don't feel like it ever nailed the seriousness. Like, because it's such a silly concept, and because it's something that I'm fairly familiar with stuff like Westworld and whatnot, I was never really bought into this. Like, if you're going to go serious, then I need to be seriously involved. If you're going to go goofy, then go for broke and have fun and make it super silly and, kind of have those payoffs. And the film is so silly in concept and so silly in some of its execution that the attempt at seriousness kind of is it's just misguided. It's like, that's where you went with this. I mean, it's fine if that's where you wanted to go with it. I personally think that was a silly move. Like, this is a Banana Splits movie. I mean, you're making a Banana Splits horror movie. I think most people are going to go into this wanting it to be goofy. But hey, man, that's not what you have to do. But if you're going to go for serious, you better nail that shit. And I don't feel like it's nailed here. I don't think it's, like, horrible, because I think it's fine. It's not something I would recommend all that much. But if you're a slasher fan, it's essentially a slasher movie. It's worth a watch. Pick it up from Redbox. I know there's people who are like, oh my god, it's the worst shit ever, but those people always exist. Alright, this is running on too long, and I'm kind of repeating myself now, but I don't know exactly what I expected from the movie, but I was a little underwhelmed. It should be better than I should have expected. So I will say that. It's probably better than I should have expected, but I thought maybe it would surprise me and be a film that I could be like, whatever, people are just fucking, crazy, and they don't appreciate fun flicks. There's not a lot of fun to be had in this movie. That's just it. A Banana Splits horror movie should be fun. And I was rarely having fun watching this. It gets away on some decent kills, some fine acting, some okay character development. It's just kind of a fine movie. Like, whatever. Like, if you took the Banana Splits away from the film and just inserted some other mascots we weren't familiar with, and we had the exact same movie, and it was a kid that was obsessed with that TV show, one that we're unfamiliar with from nostalgia past, I would have the exact same feelings. So, anyway, guys, let me know if you watched the movie. Let me know what you thought. Adios.